Bamboo Bulife, Progressive Democratic Patriots with Watson Duke.
Let's build a better Tobago. Let's build a better Tobago. Let's build a better Tobago. Let's build a better Tobago.
Progressive Democratic Patriots.
Let's build a better Tobago.
With Watson Duke.
Let's build a better Tobago.
Child by child.
Let's build a better Tobago.
Family by family.
Let's build a better Tobago.
Building village by village, street by street, with all good people we meet. We care for the old, we care for the young, we caring for everyone.
Let's build a better Tobago. Let's build a better Tobago.
Come on.
Let's build a better Tobago. Let's build a better Tobago.
Progressive Democratic Patriots.
Let's build a better Tobago.
With Watson Duke.
Let's build a better Tobago.
Hey, child by child.
Let's build a better Tobago.
Family by family.
Let's build a better Tobago.
Building village by village, street by street, with all good people we meet. You and I. We care for the old, we care for the young, we caring for everyone.
Let's build a better Tobago.
Come on.
Let's build a better Tobago. 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 Let's build a better Tobago.
PDP, Progressive Democratic Patriots.
Of my country.
He's an estranged Tobagonian.
He's
Estranged Tobagonian.
because he calling the daughter of
Bakery.
Bakery.
I heard this. I said, I cringe. I say he's a
You say
good
restore the daughter of
Here's
Bakery.
a good Tobagonian going bad.
It's a bakery. It's a
That's what happening, when you're in KFC too much and them, and that's bakery too much in Trinidad, you know. Everything is bakery.
All right. Well, we'll talk to you and let me. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, folks, and of course, this is the PDP Hour brought to you, of course, Watson Duke and of course Dr. Faith. They are here, people, and of course, Watson. Of course, you start. Go ahead, do your prayer, and then.
That's right. We'll take up me hour. Tell better be.
No.
Morning Trinidad, morning Tobago. This is Watson Duke. I'm here this morning with my colleague, my comrade, one of the budding members of the PDP executive team. Let's begin with a word of prayer. Father God, I thank you for your love, your mercy, for your faithfulness every morning. We want to surrender to you this morning as you have your way in this station. In the name of Jesus, amen. Yes, Tobago, Watson Duke here. I want to begin with an update. It's quite interesting that yesterday I began a personal walkabout in the village of Dallaford. You know, that's where 3/4 of my family is. I want to let the PNM know one time that Dallaford is one family. Yes, one family. Even Gary Melville will be voting for me. He's my family, you know. Yeah, Dr. Faith. Gary Melville is my family. And he has to understand, blood thicker than the PNM Balizier water. Blood thicker than that. And I expect to get the support of my Dallaford people. They were quite receptive. I did observe some work that was started and apparently abandoned. I did observe some persons being mistreated. One of those persons is a fellow we'll call Rago. He lives down in that area, that I don't know the area called because I don't even signs on the street, but do you know what I'm talking about? Rago, who lives in Dallaford, and road that is now being developed. And he's 82 years old. They did some works inside there under Gary Melville. Yes, they did some works inside there, fixing the road. And the backhoe knock off the man's step. The man now has to climb up on the bank to catch the first shredder to go to his home. That is PNM representation. And he would have spoken to Gary Melville. Look, call Gary Melville for me, please. I'm calling a name now. And Gary Melville did nothing. And Gary Melville is from Dallaford, Imagine, he said he did nothing at all whatsoever. The man is still there. He has to climb up every single day on this dirt bank before he could catch his first shredder. We're talking about he must stretch his feet about 4 feet off the ground before he could catch the first shredder to climb up his stairs. An old man that walks with a cane, 82 years old. I saw the man yesterday and I embraced the man, and tears almost came to my eyes to understand how PNM is mistreating people in this country simply because PNM thinks that they own a license to mash up the place. But the Progressive Democratic Patriots, we are of the firm view that in Tobago, all of us are one family. Therefore, Dr. Faith, we must love our neighbors ourselves and treat each other with respect. Hence, when we get into office, we already promised them that there will be no black jersey or red jersey. Everybody will be treated equally. Exactly. Nobody being fired. And so, as I say that, I went to Speyside after. Burning the midnight oil, burning the midnight oil. I left Speyside after 10 last night, speaking with some youths in a little forum, just rapping with them, understanding what life is like in Speyside. And I learned that right now, throughout Speyside and the rest of the villages of Tobago, there are some people in European development who are threatening these workers all the time. That if they don't vote PNM, the bread will be taken away from them. So much for gangster politics. We call it ghetto class politics. That if you do not vote PNM as a young man, when the other party comes in, they will fire you. But you do think that is true, Dr. Faith?
Of course not.
Of course, you say?
Of course not.
Not, all right. I want to make sure. They're saying that if PNM gets voted out of office, the next party that comes in will fire everybody. Folks, I want to say this morning, that's wrong. It's untruth and it's evil to perpetuate those kind of lies. Don't you think?
It's evil, and that is why I say what we have now is the same, if not worse, than slavery.
I tell you, mental slavery. So a lot of these young guys tell me that they are forced to vote PNM, because if they don't vote PNM, they're going to lose their job. I say Oval and them should cry in their bed at night for the evils that they're doing to our children. Telling them, if you didn't vote PNM, you ain't getting your work. And I want to say this, all up on my record now, that when the PDP takes over in January, when we take over in January, that's the word on the ground. Anybody who would have done that to these young people, they will be fired on sight. From the time we see them, go home. Go to hell home. We're not asking no questions, because they would have been evil. They are likened to the black people in Africa who would have caught our forefathers and sell them off for a bead chain. Our life meant nothing to those. What meant something to them was a bead chain and a clear glass from Massa, straight from the ship. They got a bead chain and they said, yes, man, I was scared 10 more Negroes, 10 more Africans, 20 more. Now what they did, some people today, they're very foolish. They're selling out our children for a promotion from the PNM. I have a name, I call them lap dogs. They're on the lap of London and always giving them a little sausage in their mouth. Look at a little van. The van you want. I'm going to fix your house for you, I fix your house for you. And for that, they are destroying the confidence in our children that this nation of Tobago belongs to them, making them feel displaced as if they have nothing else to do. And the young boys in Brighton,
exactly.
It's 7 and 8 levels and they want to do more,
No, exactly.
The system doesn't open up. And so I want to repeat again, you elderly men and women who sit on top of development and you are stifling the confidence of our youth. You are harassing them, threatening them, tell them vote for PNM or else. When we enter, you will be fired on sight. The very first day we see you and they say, that is the man there, you will be fired. We'll pay for you in the court. Those things must come to an end. But you can avoid that, by having a change of heart now. And tell them, vote as your conscience allow you. Or don't tell them anything whatsoever. Don't even tell them vote for PDP. Let them vote as their conscience allow them. We're not taking that kind of evil from nobody. Again, I repeat, do not tell your workers how to vote. Anybody I know have a government job and telling workers how to vote, and I'm talking about the PNM voters, they will be fired on sight. Yes, what St. Duke says, true to my word. And I want to go somewhere with that. Because they always keep saying there's no money in the country. There's no money in the country, so therefore, we only fighting to keep all the employed, because there's no money. And as the next team come in, they ain't putting up with that, they're firing you all. Let us say this also. All URP, all development, all CPEP workers will maintain their jobs under the Progressive Democratic Patriots. Again, all development workers, all CPEP workers, all URP workers will maintain their jobs. As a matter of fact, there will be no job loss when the PDP takes over in January. Why? Because all of us are one family, and we believe in Tobago.
We believe in Tobago, exactly.
That's right. We want to go further. We want to go further, We want to look at the salaries of all of these people. The URP, the CPEP, some of you are not making enough money. But with greater salary comes greater responsibility, because we want to ensure that we get value for money. We want to up the salary a bit, because Tobago can deal with these things. For a long time, I think the CPEP workers in Tobago were paid less than the CPEP workers in Trinidad.
Really? Okay.
For quite a while.
Okay.
I'm not sure if it isn't corrected now.
Right.
But we intend to treat with that. Tobagonians must be the cream of the crop, and we are saying job security, financial security, and you can go to work with confidence, knowing that the same work you work in today, you would be able to work in it tomorrow. Finance is no issue. There are many things we can do here in this country to raise finance. There are many finance also, there are many revenues in this country that is going unaccounted for. Not only did the auditor recognize that, but we also in the PDP recognize that. And I want to introduce this morning our good doctor, Dr. Faith, to talk on those revenue issues and how we could treat with revenue in Tobago.
Right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Trinidad. Good morning, Tobago. Good morning, all over the world that's listening. Now, let me go back a little bit to echo what Mr. Duke said with the kind of slavery that we're seeing. It's not just the young people, It's not just young people. It's not just the young people.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, just before the internal elections that just went by a couple of weeks ago, there were people who were personally coming to me and saying, you know what, I sign up with them because the supervisor come and give me a phone and say, I have to sign
Wow.
up. I have to become a member of the party. I didn't have a choice. That is probably why, even though they had double the amount of people becoming members, only the same 4,000 went and voted, because the other 4,000 was people who they're probably forced to join. So in their hearts and in their minds, they are not really part of that organization, and they are upset. They are vexed. They are very, very upset that as a citizen of this country, they have to go through that kind of slavery. They are very, very upset.
Indeed, evil.
It is evil. It is downright evil. Now, going back to the issue of revenues, we in Tobago have an opportunity that we are not tapping into.
Talk to me.
We have an opportunity where we have the capacity, we have the legal will, we have the authority to raise our own revenues here in Tobago, and we are simply not doing it. Or if we're doing it, I don't know, you don't know, because we simply don't know. It is not being reported correctly. It is not being reported.
Interesting.
Now, if you know anything about budgeting, and they tell you this from a child, if you have to do a budget, a real budget has two sides. It has the revenue side, meaning the income where you're getting the money from, and it have the expenditure side, meaning this is how much you're going to spend. So you know, if you're only getting $100 for the month, you have to be able to put your $2 to this, your $8 to that, to whatever. But you have to know for a fact that is $100 you're getting for the month, and that would determine how you spend it. What we have been doing, I call it a wish list.
No, I call it a beg list. We'll be begging.
We're begging. I call it a wish list, where we say we want this, we want that. It gonna cost $1 million, it gonna cost $2 million, whatever, and we wishing that somebody pays for it for us. When right here we have all of the capacity, and when I say all of the capacity, I'm not saying just because I am saying it. According to the THA Act, the Tobago House of Assembly, one of the first things on the list that we have a responsibility for is to collect revenues for the running of the Tobago House of Assembly. And that means going out. All of the different institutions you see working here in Tobago that are thriving because Tobagonians buy there, because we are the ones who are supporting it. All of the banks, the credit unions, all of the places where you go and buy furniture and all of that, all of those places, by right, they should be paying their taxes in Tobago, and the Tobago House of Assembly should be collecting those taxes, putting it into an account, and then ensuring that we report on it correctly and use it for our gain. That is what should be happening, and the law says that that is what we should be doing. Unfortunately, however, that has not been happening. Why? That is a question you have to ask those people who've been there for the last 5, 6, 10, 16, how many years? You need to ask them, why have you not been collecting these taxes? Why have you not been collecting the NIS? Why have you not been collecting any of those inland revenue? Why have you not been collecting it? And when we say collect, we don't mean where you just go into the office, because when you go into the office here and pay, it just goes, basically you're just going in and pay here and it goes down to Trinidad.
Yeah.
That is not what we're talking about. We need, when you go into the office here and when you pay it here, it stays right here. And it's one of the reasons why people always are concerned. You know, whenever you talk about Tobago getting autonomy, people always start talking about the fact that Tobago could say about itself, what are we talking about autonomy? We don't make no money, we don't do nothing. And you have to tell them, actually, no. There are countries that are smaller than us. There are countries that use way less money than us, and they do it based on their own individual revenue that they collect inland.
You have examples of that?
Grenada.
All right. Tell us.
Grenada is a perfect example. If you go and pull up, and anybody could do it, it is online anyway. You go and pull up the budget statement for Grenada. It will tell you Grenada, the revenue for a particular year was how much. It would tell you the expenditure for a particular year was how much. Of the revenues, they would tell you a certain amount of it came from loans. They would tell you a certain amount of it came from grants. They would tell you a certain amount of it came from inland revenue or all of those areas. They break it down. So you know if Grenada spending $100, exactly where they got the $100 from, and they would tell you exactly where they spent it on. They're even to the point where they have projections. So they say for next year, we expect to get $5 million from this. And if next year they did not get the $5 million, they would be reporting, we only got $4 million, you know, and that means we're $1 million short, which means we had to get that $1 million from somewhere else. But all of that is in the budget so that a common man like me and you could actually read it and know what is happening with the finances of the country. Tobago, I think that we are no less than Grenada. We have people who are equally smart, if not more smart than Grenadans. There is no reason why our budget should just sound like a fairy tale, like we're begging, like we do this and we do that, and we build tree this and we build tree that, and you're not even saying of the 3 things that you built, how much did it cost?
Indeed, indeed. They love to talk about, they put lights on field. As if we were children of Jumbi. Put lights on field. As if that was a big thing. Since when lights is something that people boast about? We put lights. I put up a wall. I fix some potholes. This is the kind of a backward politics we have in Tobago. This is how they account for our money. A true jazz. A true heritage. This is how they account for our money. What the PDP will be doing, what the Progressive Democratic Patriots will be doing, any single budget that we read will begin with the revenue that we made for the previous year and the expenditure that was occurred in the previous year.
Yeah.
So even if we made 500 million in the previous year and our expenditure was 2 billion, then you could do the maths. You know there was a deficit of $1.5 billion. All right?
Yep.
And you know that something is not reading right. And by doing that, you could know whether or not we are managing in an effective way or in an ineffective way.
Exactly.
Based on reducing the deficit. This is how governments govern. they try to reduce the deficit. You work with the deficit in mind. Or in other words, big word, you work with the loss in mind, in profit and loss.
Exactly.
And you try to reduce the loss as the years goes by. Right, and you will see why we had this loss. We had this loss because XYZ be the case. But when Joel Jack, my good friend, but he's totally unfit for the job. He's a good poser. Not a composer, a good poser. He sit back, and when I listen to him, I'm hearing London speak as if he's a son of London, the same decibel he speak at. And Tobago, for the fiscal year, you know, they make you sick when you want to listen to them. There's no effort in their voice. They speak as if they were forced to speak. They do not tell us how much revenue we make, how much was the expenditure for the previous year, and what was the loss, and what amounted to the loss, and how do they intend to lessen that. This is what a budget is. If you talk to my wife, or talk to any housewife, or any man who manages a home, he will tell you, look, things hard this month, honey. All I could give you $1,000. That used to buy grocery, send them to the school, and pay the bills. No, she knows that the cost of running a home is really $2,000 a month.
Yep.
And so therefore she says, how could I do that? He said, well, that's what I have, because I get half pay this month. And she now sets into operation a balancing act that women could do. I want to congratulate all single mothers out here, all mothers in a decent family out here. It's a decent family, in a family, father, mother family.
Nuclear
family, right? A decent family. That's a discrimination. I'll take back that word.
Please
that's a discrimination.
Please do.
That's discrimination. But I want to big up all single mothers out there, and all mothers out there who are in a nuclear family, mean husband, wife, children. And all those persons in what they call those big family out there.
Expanded, extended
family out there. I call my 7-year-old son. He knows all them things by heart, you know. He could rattle it off to you, you know. Yes. But so, I'll bring him here one of these days. I'll let him read a story one of these days. You know, he's really very good in school, very intelligent, very different from me, and very cool on the cool side, but very strong. Cool but strong. So I'm saying, the average woman, the average man who runs a home out there knows how to perform this balancing act of taking $1,000 and allowing it to stretch to cover a bill, a monthly bill expenditure of $2,000. What they normally do is they say this, instead of buying this brand, I'll buy this brand, I'll buy cheaper. So they cut the food budget. They then attempt to cut the bills. They say, I will stick something on this bill. I'm going to pay this bill off. I stick a 20 on this bill. I stick a 40 day. I stick a 100 on this bill here. At least I pay something.
Exactly. They ain't got to cut off the lights.
They ain't cut off the lights at all.
Yeah.
And they say to the man who can't train to school here, I'm making stuff this month. I can't pay all that money. How much you could take? I'm trying to go to school. Bam, and do that. And they will make magic with that money. But they understand that they have a deficit of $1,000. Women, put all your hands up, people know what I'm talking about. All you know to manage money. Or you know to manage money in this country. And I say, fire Joel Jack and give a housewife the job. She will do a better job than Joel Jack. Fire him! Fire him! I wonder what they go school for.
But you know what you're talking about there is the fact that everybody in the family now knows the situation. Everybody in the family knows that we are accustomed to spend $2,000, but we only have $1,000 now, which means everybody has to do their part to make the $1,000 work.
And they understand.
And they understand that. But that goes back to how you run a country too. When you are able to say very explicitly, we needed $1 million or we needed $2 million, but we only got $1 million, and this is what we have to cut. This is where we have to go back. The average man on the ground understands that, and he knows that, this month I may have to do this month I may have to wait a little bit, this month I have to work a little harder because the salary that I'm getting, I needed to give me double the production because that is what the country needs right now. And because we have a conversation all the way at the village level, all the way at the family level, it's not just those of us who are at the top who is seeing saying that. But it is the entire nation that is understanding, well, we really had to do it a little different now. This year might be a rough year, but when we do it for this year, by next year, we will get better.
Precisely.
And you would not be getting the kind of marching and stuff like that that you lead in, because everybody understands the situation. And that is why we need the people who are there, who are responsible, to be honest with us.
Precisely.
To be honest with us, and don't just be thieving for your friends and then say you don't have money.
And it worries me, because I'm saying this, the Progressive Democratic Patriots, we are going to engage the public of Tobago in what is called participatory democratic consultation, which means, as Dr. Fitz put it very poignantly, is that if we are in a situation, a bind, right? We are facing a difficult point of our lives. We will have to get down and have public meetings and say, look, this is what it is. Not forcing people and asking them, what can you give up?
Exactly.
What are you willing to take? What are you willing to surrender? How can we get through this? What time you feel is reasonable? This is what the mother does. Hear me? I love women, you know, because I watch how my mother manage money.
Exactly.
I watch how she manage money. She will come and she say, all right, come, driver, come. And she will have a conversation with the driver.
Exactly.
She'll say, look, don't tell me nothing. I'll give you half whenever I get it. Cool yourself. No, she understands the driver is doing a service. And likewise, if London was in his right senses, and I say, if he was in his right senses, because he does, I forget now. Yes, I forget. He's not in his right senses now. Take it from me. When I look at the man, this is a man on his way out. He's not in his right head. He said, I forget. Big press conference. I forget. How you could forget? What's wrong with you? Anyway, I watch my mother will tell them drivers, look, we can't make this month. Take something. We could take negotiations. If they had sit and if they sat and they spoke with the nurses and everyone said, look, what we could do? We can't make it this month. Come on, talk to me. Give a little time. I have a bill to have the money, but I have a bill to pay. I want to pay this bill. They will understand. They may say, go ahead. And if they say, no, we want it now, then you pay them now and deal with somebody else. You have to do that. Where is the conversation in the corridors of power?
Exactly.
Where is the conversation with the rootsmen? The PDP is vowing today that we will take night and make day and have a conversation. Late last night, after 10 hours in Speyside, having a conversation with young people. The picture on my Facebook.
What was the concerns? What are the concerns?
Man, they're sick out of the country running, they're sick. These guys have gone to school, they have educated themselves, and they are concerned about the type of employment that they have. They have employment on a lasso. So you could give them employment now and pull it back after. They pay them have employment in this country on a lasso, and people need stability in their lives. These are young people. They want to know that tomorrow they will have the same opportunities as today. At least where their financial security is concerned, where their job security is concerned. People have children feeding, and they're threatening them. If you don't vote pay them, remember you're going to lose your job. Because when these other what's them come inside you know what happening? They're firing everybody. Nonsense. We had to assure them that when we come inside it, we will expand the type of jobs, because we're building Tobago. And once you're building, you need hands. We're building Tobago, Dr. Fit, child by child, family by family, village by village. So I say fire Joel Jack this morning. The likes of him has brought a curse upon Tobagonians. We have never seen so much financial trouble like now. I know he is now off in the sunset. They're going abroad. I don't even know, but they're going abroad. Some people lost. They're going.
I think so.
LA, Los Angeles, Hollywood. So they're going to look for money. I tell you, they couldn't fool me.
They're going to act.
They must be going to brush up on the acting skills. Alright? We should brush up on the acting skills. So this morning we're talking about finances. And we're saying the way the PDP will manage our finances is the way our grandmother teaches us. Sometimes she have a little piece of money in she bosom or under she mattress. And just when you out to your granny and you figure she money done, she reaches inside she bosom, puts up and fold up. Because if you jump on the ground, you can't see it. Right? It was like a piece of cloth.
Exactly.
And she pull it or she unwrap it and she said, look, go and buy something. If the THA practiced that same granny financial philosophy, then when they had no money to pay the TRHA workers on them, they'd reach inside the bosom Some place close to their chest. Somebody call that the fund. We call it fund again. No, they call it the fund. The emergency fund.
Emergency fund.
Right? There's a fancy name for it, but the emergency fund. Then I've reached into the bosom, touch the emergency fund, and say, "See this? Nobody really see this, but handle yourself. Go on, pay all the bills." They would have treated with that kind of granny financial philosophy. You mean nothing out here that is big, it cannot be broken down, you know. All right? And the wisest man out here must speak in the simplest of words. So we have to understand.
What is unspent balances, Watson?
Unspent balances? Well, unspent balances is something that the teacher will send back to Trinidad. Trinidad don't have unspent balances.
What do you think about that?
Huh?
What do you think?
And they send back to Trinidad simply because they didn't spend it.
Yeah. What
And they have to give an account for it. Well, rightfully so, they must give an account for the money that they didn't use. But we are saying the PDP will spend every single cent.
Well, you have to
Every
ask
single
yourself,
cent.
why wasn't it spent?
No.
If you budgeted for it at the beginning of the year and you run your programs the way your programs were supposed to be run, there's no reason to have money leave back at the end of the year.
All right, let me just ask a question here, because I have been peeved by that invention, and let me call it invention by the THA of unspent balance nonsense. Up to now, I'm trying to make sense of it. During the campaign for the PNM internal election, I asked all of the contenders about that unspent balance for the first time in the whole history of politics.
Right.
It's only Tobago have that, and I'm trying to figure out what it was. I asked Mr. Rennie Dumas. I asked all of them.
Right.
What is that? And Mr. Dumas said it's a trick.
Okay.
Like you played that trick. That's how we interpret it, No, because Dr. Faith and Mr. Watson, clearly we lack the vision to develop Tobago. We lack the luster. We lack the drive. We lack something is lacking. Why we could say every time we quarrel for money, we don't get enough, but yet you have enough to send back. Now, does that make sense?
Exactly.
Now, I am asking Mr. Duke and Dr. Faith of the PDP that I don't know what to call that concept, that mentality of unspent balances. If the PDP goes into office, you said you wouldn't send back a cent, but what can such a savings do if in the event that the year passes, the financial year passes, and you recognize that there are some monies that can be utilized somewhere else? What would that do? What would you do?
Well, first of all, let me describe London, them thinking as children. They have not matured in politics, nor have their mind expanded to deal with the realities of today. So like you send a child to school, and he wants to get a good rating from his mother or his father, he spends little or no money and say, "Mommy, I bring back the money."
Okay.
By the time gas killing the child, all it is.
You want the dirty?
You want a daughter. That's how gas killing the child. He ain't buy nothing to eat. You say, buy a little doubles, buy a little pie, buy a little something by the thing next door, eat that, right? Look at $5. Child come back home, "Mommy, look the money." You know what Christ called that? Christ said, "Thou fool." There was a parable. And London, all listen this morning, because I don't read a lot of Bible, let's read a different kind of book upside down. Let me tell you this morning. There was a parable told in the Bible about 3 men who were given 3 talents. A talent is like a wheat, like a money. Right? 2 of them invested, and they made double the portion.
Right.
One of them had 1. He said, "See me not invested, at least me lose it. I put it right here on the ground. So when master come back and ask me for it, look
right
it."
here.
Christ said, "Thou fool, thou fool." He said, "It shall be taken away from you and given to the man who have invested his." And I'm saying to London and them today that the THA shall be taken away from you. Somebody say amen this morning. I preach it this morning. And it shall be given to the PDP, the Progressive Democratic Patriots. Let me finish it, Brother B. So all we're doing to THA now, not sending back money, trying to hide it and say, look, Master Rowley, the money you give it right here. Rowley said, "Look, the money I give enough for 3 months too much." He said, "The money I give enough for 3 months too much. Take it a month. Let me see what I leave back." He said, "Thou fool." Instead of giving 3 months allocations, take a month. Take a month, thou fool.
There has to be a rationale why they came up with that.
Thou fool.
So obviously, clearly, and let's, for those you listen, that point that you made with the parable, and of course I was, when you started it, that's when I remembered it.
Yeah, man.
Because we did that.
Then boy, I read Bible, I read different books upside down.
No, and my thing is, Mr. Duke, there are so many things to be done in Tobago.
Exactly.
So many things.
So many things we have not even started dreaming about what Tobago can possess. The other day I said, somebody met me and he said, Brother B, you know, I heard you talk about the indoor sporting facility. You know that there was a plan and everything was in the making for one to be constructed, and somebody just did not pursue it vigorously to have that established.
But you know, someone told me last night, right, in my sojournings around Tobago, that there was a private person who came with a plan to the THA, a private person. For indoor facility.
I think it's the same issue. I think it's the same story.
And he came to them for some financial assistance. And they gave him none. Today I'm saying to that person, if you are anywhere out there and you are hearing this program, come and see me, Watson Duke.
But look,
come and see us, the PDP, the Progressive Democratic Patriots. We are going to listen to you. We're going to look at your plans, and we will promote that when we get into office, because that's what we call building up the private sector and public-private partnership.
An opportunity to allow for that indoor facility to be,
and he give back something,
and then employs young,
is wrong with that.
talented people to maintain and to support the.
I mean, if you want, you could say, all right, let me own 51%. You own that,
exactly,
and this is the way it goes. I can't understand what is wrong with these.
But you know, I
people in the THA.
We keep thinking, unfortunately, when people are dealing with Tobago and anything for Tobago, they keep thinking it is only, but they keep thinking it is only for the 50 or 60,000 people who are here. And you use that as a rationale as to why, whether we need it or whether we should do it or whether we should go ahead. No, if we have a facility like that here, do you not think that people from Trinidad, people from other places would be coming to use that facility?
Of course.
So,
I mean, we have to go back again to the kind of politics and the kind of financing we're talking about. If London was practicing some granny financing, the little excess money, it's what you call the unspent balances. My God, to call that the excess money, the change, the small change. She have a little bowl sometime, and she will put that money, Dr. Faith, in that bowl. She say, all right, go and buy a pound of sugar for me, some rice and this, and come back, and if you're gonna change, put inside that jar, put inside the bowl here for me. That is the unspent balances.
Yep.
Because a day will come when Granny will reach into that jar, that unspent balance. We're talking about Granny financing it today. It's no big financing that will draw Jack and those are folly. I mean, that's what them guys went to school. What they really went to school for. Because Granny was managing to finance it better than them. And she go into that little jar. And she pull out, she say, all right, check up that money for me. 1, 2, 3. All right, good. Take that money down, go down, you go and buy a tank of gas for me. The same unspent balances that you went to the grocery and I couldn't buy, and you bring back change. She put it in her jar, she said, go and take and buy gas for me now. If the term is coming to an end and you recognize you have 1 million, 2 million inside there, you're supposed to say like, Granny, count up that for me. See much I have there. All right, take that and do so and so for me. Because you're about to finish. Do that for me. And did this. Folks, I do not know we have reached as a level of self-sufficiency, Dr. B. Israel. I don't know if we have reached that level of self-sufficiency. We could rock back and say, look,
we good.
Me good. The next problem in the Bible I want to use again, you know. The next problem about a man who was rich, full of money. He was producing plenty. And he said this. He said, I'm going to break down them barns there. And I'm going to build some bigger barns. And I will tell myself, you have enough now for the future. Christ said, thou fool, tonight thy life will be taken from you, and tell me who those things will be there for. Solomon calls it a grievous evil, where one man stores up and he's never able to enjoy it, and next man come and enjoy it. It reminds me of what happened to Robinson in an hour. He came inside and he built up the country. He stored it up. And when they went into this, there was a lot of money in the country after his 5 years, and they spent it all out. And sometimes people build up for others to break down. This is what happens here when London take over. They reach a country that was being run on $300 million. Now today they're getting budget of $5 billion. And still there's not enough. Somebody told me they're banking the money in Nigeria. I don't know. Somebody tell me that.
It's alleged.
It is alleged.
Well, tell me that.
It is alleged.
They tell me that.
I heard through the grapevine. That's
right.
It's alleged.
So, well, only that's alleged.
Yes.
that they're banking the money in some bank in Africa. I mean, I don't know. You hear all these stories out there.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, you ought to put your money where, like Granny, you could tell somebody, count up that money there for me. Don't store it up for yourself. Store it up for the people representing. The PDP want to pledge this morning that whatever money is given for Tobago, we acquire for Tobago, will be spent on Tobagonians, every single cent.
Okay, 1 second.
Searching for a better day. Yeah. So many times I've been misunderstood. People thinking I'm up to no good. Everybody want composure.
Right, so before we go to the lines, we need to do a little poll around this time of the evening.
Yes, of course.
The morning. The morning.
Day turn into night, night turn into day.
Running on. Yes. We just want to pause and let Tobago know that many years ago, on July 27th, 1990, it was a Friday, about 6 o'clock in the evening time, between 5 and 6. We heard the news. Our boy was in government then, A&R Robinson during the 80s. And the 90s found him there still as Prime Minister. And it was a coup attempt. It has changed our country in many ways. And it reminds us that the freedom we take for granted comes at a price. A very expensive price.
Say that again.
The freedom that we take for granted comes at a price. A very expensive price.
Good.
People who are locked up in prison call this world out here the free world. They see themselves as living in a different world.
Yes, of course.
They say this is the free world. Let us not take our freedom for granted. Let us respect our police officers, our coast guards, all the men who are doing national security, even the immigration officers and these persons. They're simply there to protect us. Sometimes they do a poor job, very poor job at that sometimes, but more often than not, they put their lives on the line to protect our freedom. Because none of us ain't going out there and fight and defend this. They're going out there to defend us. I want to salute all those persons from national security that have lost their lives during that time. They're Trinidad or Tobago. We also want to support, offer our condolences and support to the families who have lost a loved ones. And we pray that when the PDP gets into office, that those memories would be erased by the good times ahead of you. We are hoping and we are trusting that you will have a new level of freedom second to none. So we're going to the questions now. We're going to the question now.
Let me see.
For the poll.
That was a statesman statement that you made.
Thank you.
I want to just commend you for that. All right, people. So we're going to the polls. We're going to the lines.
The question this morning is dealing with finances, right? I was saying, do you understand how the finances of this country is being managed? Do you understand? Because if people understand it, then we could say, all right, well, I will accept it because I understand it. But you understand how the finances of Tobago is being managed. And let me just hit in this little caveat as I will say here. We have a budget around March, somewhere around there. April, May. April around there. It's but sometime around November, when Trinidad without their budget, and they look at Tobago beg list, the beg list that they are giving them. They say, Tobago, you can't get all that money you're begging for. I'll give you 1 billion instead of the 2 billion you're asking for. They do not come back to us and say to us, look, we had asked for 2 billion, we get 1, we're going to now do this. That's how Granny used to do it long time.
Exactly.
Granny financing. Huh? But Joel Jack and these guys who are there, still having big clothes, big suit. And the finances, fiscal, they love to use big words to end up people's mind. I'm saying bring back the granny politics. How the finances are managed in Tobago, yes or no?
Okay. All right, let's go to the lines are open, 63907.
I'm just taking 10 calls an hour.
6310219. Let's go. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Brother B.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning to Mr. Duke and his comrade.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, good morning.
Now, I heard you all talking about finance. Now, remember, Mr. Duke,
Yes, sir.
I want to have a little conversation, not for long.
Well, we have a
You.
poll now, you know. We have a little poll.
Yeah, okay, well, firstly, I don't understand.
Right, good, nice, nice.
Can I make any comment?
Just briefly. Thanks.
All right, what I'm saying is this. First thing is that the pride of any nation is its youth.
Yes?
Let me repeat that. The pride of any nation is its youth.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have a government in power, and you have governance, good governance, you must focus on the development of the youth and our grandchildren and great-grandchildren.
Yes, yes.
Now, there is what you call compulsory spending in finance.
Must.
Workers must be paid.
Yes?
Bills must be.
Yeah.
So I cannot
Well, recurrent
understand.
expenditure.
Obviously, I cannot understand. If you are doing compulsory spending, how can you have a, what you call it before, that one that is sent back to Trinidad?
Unspent balances.
Unspent
Unspent balances.
Unspent balance. How can you have unspent balance?
Exactly.
When there is development to be taking place in Tobago all across the board. So then it means that something is wrong. How can it be? Then you have workers can't get paid, but you have unbalance. I don't understand
Exactly,
this thing.
exactly. All right.
Okay.
Point taken. All right, 6390791, 6310219, 6608373. Do you understand the finances or the manner in which the finances are being handled in Tobago, given the present, the THE, and the manner in which they go about doing that? All right, so your calls are welcome. We're doing a poll. Yes or no? Do you understand? 6390791, 6310219, 6608373. Yeah?
But you know, Brother B, let me add a little bit to that. One of the reasons why we end up with what seems like too much money sometimes is because when we do the budgeting for the individual programs, the budgeting for the individual divisions, usually the thought process that needs to go into that does not really happen at the level it should. Most of the times what you hear is, whatever was the budget from last year, let's add a 10%. No, that will never work, because what you did last year may not be what you plan to do this year.
You know,
so if you just add in a 10% and so on, it means you're going into it not even knowing what you should be spending money on.
Let me throw something in the mix, and as we wait for the calls, when you ask your parents for some money, they would say, what do you want the money for? All right, and if you did not produce what you said you were going to do with it, the next time you ask for it, you will not get it. Precisely. And that's exactly what is happening.
You're sure right. You're sure right.
Let's go. 1 month.
Let's spend that out. Good morning. Good morning.
Hello. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Morning.
Do you understand the budget in Tobago or the finance?
No, I don't understand. I don't understand at all.
Good.
I don't understand how come Scarborough has been destroyed and they have unspent balances, you know. Scarborough is totally destroyed and it have unspent balances. When the ships come in, the tourist ship and the warrior spirit, they come into a shanty tongue and we have unspent balances.
I tell you.
Okay.
Just don't understand.
Excellent. Thank you. And somebody needs to...
Yes.
All right.
Do you understand the finance in Tobago, how it is managed? That's why Rowley cut it down from
because
3 months to 1 month.
You're not seeing what this entire 5 years for the 12 nil. What can we say that was done for that entire 5 years?
Nothing.
What? And every year you're making a budget and you're going and begging?
London only patting your food on in Mary all the time.
Well, give me a chance, man. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Yeah.
No, I don't understand. But Abi, you see the new sporting indoor facility that they showed on TV6 last night?
No, that's the one I talked about that how much weeks ago? And we didn't even know when the sun turned for it.
Yeah, with a cycle tracking it. They showed it on TV last night.
Hello, listen, when I saw that, I said Tobago only want some licks.
But
yeah. I was hurt,
PDP will handle the Progressive Democratic Patriots will handle that.
All you wake up in this Tobago.
That's why we are here, to fix Tobago.
All right, thank you. So he doesn't understand. Yeah, man. All right. And let me tell you, I am about progress, But you know, the other day they tried to align. Somebody said, "Oh, you're supporting what's his name, Rennie Dumas." When Rennie Dumas talks sense, I say yes, you're talking sense. Exactly. When Watson talks sense, I say you're talking sense. If you're talking nonsense, listen. The point I'm making is Tobago is too far behind. We have to understand that there needs to be a combination of ideas and a combination of willingness, a combination of will to get things done. And that's the problem in
the
Tobago. We don't have the
Progressive
will.
Democratic Patriots will do that.
Oh, God.
I tell all of Tobago, make sure all of vote these evil, wicked PNM out, you know. They are very good PNM people, but some bad PNM drivers.
Let's go. Hello, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Duke.
Hey, good morning, my friend Landy. How are you? Remember, I'm going to pick you up on voting day, eh? Remember that we have a date. I'm going to robe you in your clothes.
Oh, you're ready,
I'm
yeah?
heisting you and put you in that car. And I'm
you're
saying
ready,
to you,
yeah?
let's go and vote.
That you could just not easy. Good morning, Dr. Faith.
Good morning, Andy. Good morning.
Well, to be honest, I had to go this morning. I don't know how the money is spent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Because the poor people remain the same.
All right.
The poor people is my cry in everything. They just remain the same all the time. Right? But I just hope that if you get through, you make us understand.
When?
When?
Landy, I did my checks, and you have a very large and strong following in Mason Hall. With your support, I will win.
Okay.
And I know I have your support. See no more. Just an amen. Just an amen.
Right, so you don't understand the finances, right?
Yes,
you don't understand how the...
yes.
Yes, Landy?
Yes.
No, I don't understand.
Okay.
I don't understand it.
Okay, good. Answer. Excellent. All right. And I mean...
we have before. Three.
Right. Somebody mentioned that there's recurrent expenditure that is a must.
Right.
We understand that.
Must have that.
Another thing, Mr. Duke, we are renting too many buildings for the THA. Listen, there's a individual whose the slice of the budget goes to him because of rent in this Tobago here. And I've said it there and I'll say it again. We need to understand that the institution called the Tobago House of Assembly is not going anywhere in a hurry. So we need to own our own buildings.
All right.
Exactly.
All right.
Rent to lease, or lease to own.
Rent to own, yeah.
You can't be paying one man. He's sucking all the wealth of the THA. One man here.
I'm saying there's nothing is wrong with a man being investing
However,
money.
it cannot be for ever and ever. Amen.
If the man is building buildings, why not buy it from him? Why not buy it from him? If you can't build, all right, how much I want the cost?
Yes.
Let me buy it from him now.
Of course.
Aren't we buying houses? Didn't they buy some houses, some hotels or something like that in Speyside?
Right.
Yep.
The youth in Speyside asked me about that. They say, what you doing with that little piece of buying on Goat Island across there? They pay millions for it. What you doing with this Manta Lodge you buy?
Yeah,
What you doing with Manta Lodge? And I said to them, I said, look, we want you all to Chalaville to form some kind of corporation, and we will engage in a public-private partnership. You must look after that. You must see it as a benefit to you.
Excellent. All right, let's go.
John Bean in the house right now.
Hello,
John
good
Bean.
morning. John Bean side.
John Bean at the place.
Good morning.
Morning.
Hello.
Do you understand the budget, sir? Yes or no?
Caller? All right, apparently we lost him.
Yeah.
All right, call back 6390791, 6310219, 6608373. We have
No, you know, but are we going back to that renting? We have places that we rent in and never use.
Of course.
We have
In Tobago?
buildings in Tobago right here that we've been renting for months, for years,
And it's a penny.
and never one day. No, let me not say never one day. We've had special events, so probably once a year
I heard of
or
those places.
twice a year we would use them,
I
and
heard
we
of those
pay
places.
hundreds of thousands. And when you're talking about rent,
Millions you're
it's
spending.
hundreds of thousands of dollars in rent for a place
I
that
heard
you
of those places.
never
Yeah.
use.
We have to get, and you see the thing is, that's the lack of consciousness. You're aware that the money is going there, but when you look, the hemorrhaging of the amount of blood, if somebody's hemorrhaging, we are concerned, yes, it's internal, you're not seeing it.
Yeah.
But let's say you get a peak inside and you see the amount of blood, then you have to hurry to the operating table.
Yeah.
So that needs that hemorrhaging of rent that we're paying in this country needs emergency operation. Hello, good morning. I lost it. All right, people call 6390791, 6310219, 6608373. You're inside the PDP hour. Let's go. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Brother B.
Morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Duke and your...
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, morning.
Brother B, I could never understand about the thing.
Why?
Because if you allocate money for all the different sections, right, a certain amount of money to run the year, and that money will include pay and whatever.
Well, right. Well, yeah. Well, recurrent, that would fall under recurrent
Right.
expenditure.
So you would estimate a certain amount that would cover that fiscal year. What I can understand is that how come every time when coming to payment you always have no money to pay?
And that is a fix.
Right.
And that is fixed.
And there's a fixed amount that you put
Yes.
in into that.
Yes.
Development have their own amount of money. Maintenance have their own amount of money. Health have their own amount of money. So then how come when pay time come around, you're just having problems? But I mean, they had to look into all these things with these people in that kitchen. And they see the thing is, in Trinidad and Tobago, nobody doesn't go to jail.
Nobody.
You understand? So you find that everybody go ride the horse and get away with it and continue riding the horse. And it's we the taxpayers that suffer most, because we don't get nothing out of it. The people in charge, the pocket just get fatter and fatter, and we sit we complain and we try to put things in place and nothing has happened. According to the hotel in Speyside, what is the reason why they buy the hotel? Was it to block an international person from getting it? Or they just buy it to waste money and have it there and do nothing with it? Because probably every day millions of dollars going on during Speyside in a hotel. You understand me?
Okay.
Speyside is a dive area. Mantelas was a dive hotel. So they don't have the incentive to continue it as a dive hotel.
Okay.
Evil.
Locked on and
Excellent, thank you.
Man. Evil.
All right, 6390791.
PDP will put its people to work, and you will see how the money is being spent. We're practicing granny financing. Yeah? It's very simple.
Yeah, let's go. Granny financing, I like that. Hello, good morning.
Morning, Brother B. How are you this morning?
I'm good.
No, I'm not agree with it.
You don't agree with it?
No, do you understand the financing in Tobago? That's the question.
No, I don't understand the finance. I have my own business and I do my own finance, and I think I'm doing better than PhD. I never have enough money to start the shop.
So you can have unspent balances?
Yes, I never have enough money to start the shop. How come I never have unspent balance?
I tell you, but I want to learn how to do that.
Last caller, a second the last caller. We don't need another hotel in Tobago. Right now they have staff doing 2 and 3 days work. Somebody had a 6 for somebody else to get 4 days work. What are we doing with another hotel?
Okay.
This is a museum. We don't need another museum. There are hotels in Tobago that are empty right now. What are we doing with another one?
Okay.
Locked on and listen.
Yes,
What's you?
My dear.
Morning, love you.
Thank you, sister, for the love.
All right. All right, people. And of course, we do have guests this morning, so we got to cut off at 7. We have 6 minutes, Mr. Duke. We did start on time. So,
I wanted to... And I'm going to play this. I'm going to find the clip where London say, I forget. I don't find that important part. We must understand, this is a man who should have resigned a long time ago. He resigned from teaching, and they pull him back, I asked myself, what is the age of Kelvin Charles? What is Kelvin Charles' age? What is his age? Why did he put in all these old people on his... Why they put all these old people on we who don't even care about how to spend money? Just do what I want now. Don't spend too much. Don't spend too much. Send back the rest. Folks, the time has come when Tobago must be governed by a young man. A young man, because a young man has young children. And he has a future that he must grow in and live into. So he cannot separate himself from what takes place in Tobago. He's very much intimate and concerned about the lives of his peers, the lives of his father, the life of his mother, his seniors, etc. I am concerned this morning. This is why I've gotten involved. I'm not a politician. I say it clearly. Watson Duke is not a politician. I'm a trade unionist, but I've gotten involved because I can't take it any longer. Dr. Faith B. Brebner is not a politician. She's not. She got involved because she can't take it anymore. Dr. Melanie Roberts is not a politician. She can't take it anymore.
Exactly.
And on Saturday, the 6th of August at Livewire Lambeau, we will be announcing 2 of our candidates there. They are not politicians, but like all Tobagonians, they have had enough. And if we don't go forward and save Tobago, then who? We are far too intelligent to allow these illiterate people, and I use the word illiterate guardedly, not they can't read and write, not that they don't have certifications, but they can't read and understand Tobagonians. They are bereft of all human intelligence. I said underintelligence, I mean intelligence, underintelligence. They have. Underintelligence. They said, not in it, they have it in. It's underintelligence. They're bereft of all human underintelligence. Folks, this is Watson Duke for the Progressive Democratic Patriots. Okay, right, good.
You have 4 minutes, man.
Yeah, man, you just rush me out,
Yeah, they're here. All right, okay, let's take a call. Hello, good morning. You have your time. I'm giving you your time. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I want to say that Watson Duke, you're the man.
Thank you.
You know, you're doing a good thing for Tobago. I'm a return resident, and I am fed up. I'm a returning resident now, and I'm fed up. And I think that, you know, some of the things that happened here in Tobago has gone on for far too long.
Far too long. Far too long.
And it's time for change.
Thank you.
Excellent. All right, people. We can take a few more. And, of course, Dr. Faith, you want to wrap? Yeah? You want to?
Sure. No, this is simple. Sometimes we really, really take too much, and sometimes we really, really think about things too long and too hard, and we want to make a big baby, like if it's a thesis writing and that kind of stuff. But sometimes it really, really takes going down to this, figuring out how we used to do it, figuring out how is the simple way of going back. Exactly. I really like that granny financing, because it used to work.
Of course.
It used to work. Even if we add in the technology of computers and whatnot, the same principle is the principle, and it used to work. And the PDP, we are here. We are listening to those people who are giving us the ideas. We are listening to the people who knows how to run their businesses and telling us, well, if I could do it for my little shop, so then it should be able to work, because it's the same principle. And the PDP is here saying, you know what, we're going to listen, we're going to ensure that we are here on the ground with you right through. You are here with us. It's not just us telling you what we want to tell you, but we actually just doing it together, because we're building Tobago. And I like to end with this: building Tobago child by child, family by family,
community,
village by village.
Excellent. All right, Watson, 50 seconds to the break. Go ahead and just close.
All right, this is Watson Duke from the Progressive Democratic Patriots. We are here Monday to Friday. We are here tomorrow again, 7 to 8. Tune in, tell your friends, tell your family that we are here. We love you, Tobago, and we will run Tobago differently. We will engage you in a consultative participation. All right, folks? Blessed love to you.
Thank you, Mr. Duke, and of course, Dr. Faith.
Lines blazing up now.
Let's go.
All lines blazing up.
All right. We go for the break, and when we come back, we take up, Marva, midweek spiritual devotion, and then we have guests. Let's go.